software engineer with 10 years of experience, and we are working on some open source laterally here, and we're adding Meetup settings. So what's a Meetup setting? A Meetup setting is there's a bunch of users on the website and they say, hey, we are interested in like a hackathon, or we are interested in either a in-person local event or maybe an online meetup and sort of a general periodic discussion. So that's the idea here. Related issue, then we'll blog it to explain it. And there are some other things that will be going in this pull request too, but that's the main focus of today's stream. Some of the other things going into the pull request will be fixing checklists, basically. So currently, if you go to the standard checklist, if you sign up today for the first time sign up, you'll be able to see all of these items in front of us. But if you signed up 2 months ago, you won't, because there's an issue with upgrading an old checklist in the code today. So that is a bug I'll also be fixing in the next version of Laterally. So you can go to the homepage and see the releases on the right. Most recently, we cut 1.1 that had custom GPT. So in the next version, there will be these user settings. So here we are on the existing settings page. This is on my localhost. And down at the bottom, there are some interesting checkboxes. I will end up blogging all of these because as the list of checkboxes grows, it's less intuitive what each particular thing does. And in particular, there's already something for a guided small group. And so like, what's the difference between that and a meetup? Might be somewhat nuanced and somewhat confusing. So it'll be good to have a link here that's like, what does this mean? In fact, we can go stub out the blog article right now. We don't necessarily need to write the blog. We can just get the link working so that we can say like, what does this mean? Or learn more, basically. Let me know in the chat if you have an opinion about the wording there. So here we will go to the blog, source pages blog. We will add a new file and date this. So today is the 16th. Okay. I'll grab a reference article, Command A, C, X, Z. X just to get the visual feedback that it popped off screen. Delete all of that. This will be item 10. This will be called user settings explained. Fixing the date. This article, and then here I'll say to do. Lists out user settings. This article explains the purpose of various user settings for Laterally. Okay, and we'll just leave it as a to-do. And that can be a standalone commit. This will do a docs commit, stub user setting article. All right, and now I'm right-clicking, close others, Command P. I'm looking for page setting index. So it's a fuzzy type. You can see I skipped some of the S's, but VS Code finds it anyway. So here we are. Then here I can command click into the setting form. And we want to add some more checkboxes. And we want to add that link to the blog article. 1, 2. So 2 more checkboxes. And we also want I want location. And so I've thought about doing a state dropdown, but only half of my audience is in the US. So what of the other countries? I can do a country dropdown. I guess there's something like 150 countries. Should I do a country? So should I have like a country dropdown or a fill in the text? I think as soon as you say it, you know the answer. It should be a drop down because people will be typing things different ways, all sorts of typos. Let's avoid. So let's have a state and country drop down. State and country drop down. And we want to make those distinct rather than like a single drop down for state or country because of overlapping cases like Georgia. Okay, so here I'm looking Command F, drop. So I have no drop downs in here today. Do I have the drop down in this application at all? Labeled drop down field. It's only existing in this other project. Let's go grab it. Command A, C. So I'm grabbing this from another project. It will live under components, under the core components. It's a generic component, right? So I'll click one of these just so it pops me over into the local folder. Then I go to the File tab. Now I am creating a new component labeled. I don't even know what to call this. Is it just labeled dropdown? .tsx. Paste. Here I can view. This is what it's called. Labeled drop-down field with the second D is lower. Makes sense to me. Labeled drop-down field. I don't really want to have this style block here. Do I do that in my other components? Not on the select field. Oh, is the select field as a drop-down? This might be the same thing by another name. Let's see, where am I using this? Nowhere in this app. Okay, let's guess and check. So we'll use it and see what comes of that. Guess and check is a key skill, y'all. So here are the checkboxes. Where should I put the link? Up at the very top or down by the confusing fields? Because I feel like some of the top fields are very obvious, first and last name. Maybe it's not obvious. Maybe someone wants to know like, hey, why do you want to know my name? So to do link to, here, I don't need to do a to do. I can just do a link tab to import that. Hopefully it picked it out of next link. Yep. Go to the href equals. I don't think I'm able to use that pattern for the markdown files. Okay, so I will set this equal to pages.blog. Is it pages? But then I'll need to do a slash my blog article name. Okay. Here, this will say learn more about user setting fields. Let's leave it like that for now. And then we're coming down here, probably above the checkboxes, we'll have this select field by itself. Hover, quick fix, change spelling. No, I don't want to change the spelling. I just want to import it. So it's unable to import currently. Oh, well, I've messed up the title. Labeled select fields. Okay. How about now? Yep, add the import. And then is this self-closing or not? It has children, so it's not self-closing. Children is the special prop name when you want to put stuff here. Thanks for all the likes, by the way. And it needs a name and a label. Name, label. Okay, so we're calling, so the name should be named after the field, which does not exist in the schema yet. So we're going to need to do a schema update. But here we can call this so we're using the profile prefix in a lot of these cases. We can continue with that. Oh no, the profile GitHub is only if it's going to show publicly. That's what the profile prefix is for. So will your state show publicly? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that should be its own election, huh? Let's do, I think this gives a reason for people to network. Like, oh, you're from Canada, I'm from Canada, so I reached out to you, that kind of thing. So I'm in favor of supporting the networking in that way. So we'll call this profile country of residence. We can just call this country of residence to decouple us from the profile concern in case in the future we want to make that separately flaggable. Country of residence, and then state of residence. Okay. And the label can just be country. The label here can just be state. And let me look at some reference code that uses this, even though it's from another project. I want to see how it's used. So in this case, you can see I have option. Yeah, okay, so it's a dropdown. Select option is a dropdown. So here, I need to extract these because that's going to be a long component. So we don't need this dropdown field after all. So let me delete this. Okay. Here in settings components, I will make a new file. This is going to be country dropdown. .tsx, and then we will have state dropdown.tsx. And this will be like US state dropdown. Yeah, this is a good start. Don't need the brace. We can arrow directly at the field. Is that all there is to it? That feels really simple. It's like suspiciously simple. All right, let's check out the UI. Oh, the pages is not working. Okay, we pseudo-coded that. Right, I can't remember the expression for for pages. Dot home, I feel like is a common, yeah, routes it is. So here we are, we're using routes. And I guess I typically import it from Next. Okay. Blog doesn't exist there, it says. Blog post. Blog index, blog post. So here's a blog post. Nice. And so which of these blog posts? It will be based on the slug. Params.slug. Params is coming through get static props. Here is slug. So I'll pass the slug. query colon. Okay. So here I have an object and I'm saying query colon, and I'm picking my slug. Okay. May only specify known properties. It doesn't exist as a known property. Query is the destructured name, not the child property name. So if it's the destructured name, I'll just go directly to slug. Like so. Very good. Now slug being a string or a number. And so that will be, I think, the file name. We'll guess and check this. So in our case, that would be this bit. There it is. On to looking at the UI. Learn more about user set. Okay, we need it to visually pop, right? So that's value is missing query values, object to be interpolated property. That's awful. My blog article name. That did not work very well. How about this blog index? I think probably neither of these. Probably I just want to put the URL directly. Oh, okay, hold on. My blog article name over here is, that's not real. That's not real. Although we might have to come back and do that. So let's see. I don't know if that fixes anything. Let's see. Okay, that fixed it. Good deal. So we have our link, but we need to add a to-do, which is like make this link visually pop. Okay, leave that as a to-do. It sounds fine for this current commit. The other thing to check is the select down at the bottom. So down here, country canonical, and it's dropping the down. It's dropping. I don't know if it will persist the data to the request, but that is for another time. So country canonical. Want to have a line break there. The label can be country of residence. Okay. And then we will have the state. So here's the country dropdown. Here is the US state dropdown. Come on, Copilot. I know you can do this. Give me those states. Bam. Perfect use case for Copilot. Sure. Part of me is like, what about the postal abbreviation, like TX and whatnot? But this works. Quick glance to make sure there's 50 of them, and there's not. So somebody's missing. Okay. Is that I forgot this thing existed. Thanks, Copilot. This is a US territory, right? Okay. I think it's is it the Virgin Islands are British? No, I don't know. That's also American. Did we get those as well? We did. Here I don't want to say US Virgin Islands. I'll just say Virgin Islands. Wait, maybe it's important to call it US Virgin Islands. Sorry. All right, let's call it that. Maybe there's some non-US Virgin Islands. I don't know. Washington, and then we have District of Columbia. Cool. All right, this looks good to me. It would be nice if it was like searchable, huh? Let me also sort lines ascending. Is Copilot a VS Code extension? Yes. Highly recommend it. Then the checkboxes are also looking fine. Okay, so here we have the state, and it's Alabama by default. Definitely don't want that to be the case. Interested, and so we have two new checkboxes. Interested in joining an online hackathon or meetup. Let's do or other events. Hackathon, meetup, or yeah. Interested in online events. Hackathons and events. Interested in online hackathons and events. Interested in in-person hackathons and events. Those will be the new checkboxes. And we'll say has online event interest, has in-person event interest. Okay, I think this is what I wanted to do for this sort of like initial commit of these improved settings. Let's fix the Alabama thing. Fix the Alabama thing. So the default should be the default is like none of these should be checked. How do I have it unchecked by default? Maybe there's a default property. So field component. Just says other props, but what props are there? T extends HTML element. There is some value that's like, yeah, I don't know what it's called. In HTML, how do I set a default selected value for a select tag? Selected. And what if I want nothing selected by default? You know what? I can just do I can do an empty string option. So it's saying pick none of them, but that's what I've done. And somehow, even though we're passing through, the behavior is getting modified. So here, I'll just add a couple new options. One is going to be an empty string option. And then I'll give this a default. And it doesn't want to allow. Oh, it's not default. It's what is it? Selected. So now it should be empty by default. There we go. So the state is empty. And then we have this not US resident. And then for consistency with Virgin Islands, we will do not US resident. Okay, so here we have not US resident. Cool, and then we have all of the options. I think that looks good. You know, obviously state needs to get fixed, but this is good for an initial commit. So thanks for being here. You can sign up, learn to code at latterly.io, sign up for free. And follow the page if you're interested in stuff like this. I will be working on this weekend. But that's going to be it for now. Let's do this commit. This is feature init new settings fields. Init new settings fields. Talk to you later.